welcome back. We're here with Josh Perry. And before we get into it, what is the one thing you've been struggling with that you need to overcome? And what one idea did you get from this series of podcasts? Post them on any of your social media channels, hashtag Brain Warriors Way podcast.
I learned one thing. What did you say? Are you on self or on purpose? I love that. That's what I learned. This is really good. You've been really great. This is fantastic.
So post that on Tana Amen.
Yeah.
Hashtag
brainwarriorsway.com.
You can actually learn more about Josh at Josh Perry, Perry, BMX.com, Josh Perry, BMX.com. He's a speaker. He's also a ketogenic consultant, brain tumor survivor, articulate, passionate. We're so grateful to have you with us.
What are you on Instagram?
Josh Perry BMX, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn.
So it's just Josh Perry?
BMX.
Josh Perry BMX. Okay.
Josh Perry's taken, so I gotta have a call with
Instagram. BMX. Okay.
And I didn't know about the keto consultant. My granddaughter, Emmy, when she was 5 months old, started having wicked seizures. In fact, in one day, she had 160 of them. Wow. And my daughter texted the videos to me, and it was like she was being electrocuted. And they wanted to put her on a medicine that was $26,000 a dose that had more side effects than you can imagine, including wiping out your immune system.
Completely.
And I'm like, well, what about the ketogenic diet? It decreases seizure frequency in children by 50%. And the doctor laughed at me, so I fired him.
Well, I knew
I like it when people laugh at me.
I knew that went south the minute that you said, "Do you read?"
And she's been basically seizure-free for 7 years. And
yeah, there's like 70 studies.
Now, I'm not a fan of the ketogenic diet for everyone because I'm a huge fan of plants and colorful fruits and vegetables. But for some people, especially with things like brain tumors, for
seizure.
For people who have ADD, it can be really helpful.
For focus.
For people who have OCD, it actually makes them more OCD because they don't have the carbs that turn into serotonin. But it's fascinating, and I'm always interested in the science behind that. But let's talk more about some of the lessons you've learned and some of the questions you might have for Tana and I about diet or rehabilitating brain trauma, whatever is on your mind.
Yeah, for sure. So first, I would love to get your perspective on what Ryan and I did with our third scan using exogenous ketones. And I remember everyone in the office saying, "Oh, we're not sure. Everyone's on the fence that we're going to see a change now because of this trait versus state." And we were just like, "All right, well, we still want to try because Dr. Ryan Lowry, his research is ketogenic diet and supplements." So. And then me, I got into it. The third diagnosis, they're like, "Yeah, we think you have a genetic disorder called neurofibromatosis." And I was like, "Man, neurofibromatosis are genetic, or epigenetics." I learned about that in brain. So let's I've been eating high fat, low carb. Let's try out the ketogenic diet, 100%. Got a glucometer, boom. And then after 2 years, now there's been no progression. And after I left competition in 2017, it's like, well, how do I provide for myself? I'm turning down sponsors. I'm not competing anymore. Let's help people make some changes. And my buddy Miles, we started out as a client and working with me over a year ago. He had 3 to 5, sometimes 7 seizures a day after 2 years of multiple brain surgeries, and he was on 12 different medications. Now they want to cut him off again. And so him and his mom reached out, and I was like, "Hey, I'm not a doctor. I coach people through this just to make lifestyle changes. I'm here to help, but you got to understand that I can't guarantee you."
When you did the keto scan, did you do it at rest or during concentration?
During concentration.
Okay. So I have up your concentration, your regular scan, and the keto scan actually dropped blood flow for you, actually pretty significantly.
Is that in the prefrontal as well?
Yes. So
he was trying to understand. He's like, "Well, it dropped here, but it improved other areas." So I'm not really sure I explained it. That's why I wanted to ask you about that.
Your
it doesn't do that for
limbic
everybody.
brain went really up, but you tend, so when you concentrate, it's not a typical ADD scan. When you concentrate, your frontal lobes actually activate. Compared, let's see, this is baseline. You see
Yeah.
this? And we can show this on the podcast. And this is concentration. So do you see how much more
Oh.
activity there?
Yeah, that is unusual.
And
So it gets
and
better,
you
not
see
worse,
here,
when you concentrate.
But on the ketogenic scan,
It dropped.
it drops.
And it doesn't do
and
that
the
for everybody.
cerebellum drops
Because typically
too.
we recommend a higher protein diet for people with ADD because it does help them focus. But there are some people who it sort of is reverse, where if they increase in attention, you're kind of reversing. So
Yeah,
that's not
so
the
at
typical?
least for that moment in time, it doesn't look like it improved the health of your brain much.
But we're
I mean, just is what
And
it
here's
is.
the thing. Here's the thing, Josh. And you probably learned this at IIN. We're not into diets of any kind because the first 3 letters in the word diet are die. So we're into individualized healthcare, right? That's why we run your numbers when you come in. I will never tell someone keto is good or bad. I will never tell someone being a vegan is good or bad, even though we see it's not as good for most people, but it can be great for some people if they're willing to supplement. I will never tell someone that being a caveman is good or bad. It really depends on you. It's you as an individual, what's missing in your profile. What do you need to supplement with? So it really is very individual. And that's why and sometimes it's a little bit of trial and error. So yeah, it's very individual.
How do you feel when you're on a ketogenic diet?
Feel 10 times better than before.
And that's a big piece of it.
Yeah,
So-
but I also eat real food now, and so
Well, that's a big
I'm
piece of it.
taking the state, here and there from taking exogenous ketone supplements or fasting or just the way I eat. I don't eat starch or sugar for the most part, but then there are times where I have sweet potato or berries, or I overeat nuts that day or nut butter. So it's like, and even like my cheat meal that I talk about, which isn't even regularly to be a cheat meal. I don't like saying that. It's real food still. It's,
Right. You're not going out and pigging out on, donuts and French
I used
fries.
to go to, McDonald's and, get a milkshake from somewhere down the road. Like it's like real food.
Right.
Costco has a new donut cake.
Oh, God.
I just saw that in the news this morning. Other questions?
So, like I said before, when I posted the video of Dr. Ali explaining the whole helmet and concussion thing and how helmets really not only, but they protect mostly against skull fractures and not so much the soft, buttery brain that we have.
Yep.
I got a lot of flashback from the BMX community thinking I'm advocating for not wearing a helmet anymore, but really it was to get an awareness of how detrimental hitting your head can be, whether you get knocked out or not, get concussion or not, and how we can prevent future damage through lifestyle. It doesn't have to be, a helmet, but like mindset, nutrition, exercise.
So think of this. Why do people get arrested for shaken baby syndrome?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter if you have a helmet on or not. When your brain shakes, even if you didn't slam it into something, just the shaking when you're constantly, if it's getting jostled around really heavily, and when you hit something, it really gets jostled. It goes back and forth. Okay, you get a coup contra coup type of movement going.
And most people don't know that. When I played football when I was in high school, I thought that protected me. And so you could hit someone as hard as you wanted to.
Thinking you were protected, but it matters.
But the brain is not anchored in your skull.
Right.
And so
it's
when
jostling.
it stops, like if you're on a bike and you fall and all of a sudden your brain stops, it then bounces inside your skull.
Like shaken baby.
And I often say if God would have used me as a consultant, I would have put bumper guards around some of those sharp bony ridges in the skull.
You would have done many things differently. We know.
You just needed a consultant, that's all.
Okay, let's not go there. So you're going to be God's consultant. Okay. So anyways, so that's one of the things. But what I love that you say is that if people are going to do brain damaging sports, okay, football's not going away. right? BMX is not going to go away because people love it. It's exciting. People will watch it. And as long as that's going to happen, it's not going to go away. So if that's going to be the case, then at least be on a brain rehabilitating program the whole time, all the time, not once in a while, not after you get hurt. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And
That's
looking at
what Ryan talks about too. He's like, man, like every NFL athlete, hockey athlete should have exogenous ketones rather than the sugary Gatorades they have in their water bottles.
For sure.
At least get some of the benefits of the neuroprotective benefits while they're competing, or have they hit their head? Because that's what my real passion for the ketogenic diet and exogenous ketones comes a lot from Dr. Dom and Ryan's work, looking at glucose impairment when you hit the brain, or when you hit your head and the brain becomes impaired, you're utilizing glucose. And like all these things. So my other question I actually had for you guys was, I would love to be able to have Ryan and I chat with you guys someday about our passion for ketogenic supplements and the diet for brain health and optimization. And like I said, this is what I want to say before, I look at it as a tool or a lifestyle. Because a lot of people are like, how do you stay keto all the time? I'm like, I don't. Like, it's just the majority of the time by my choices, but then I'm gonna have some sweet potatoes, I'm gonna have some berries, I'm gonna have some nuts, or I'm gonna go on a trip to Italy and maybe I'll indulge a little bit one meal. That's the thing. Right. It's not vacation indulgence, it's
right.
One meal.
It's one thing.
I have
right,
a glass
right.
of wine. Like,
that's what we say.
It's all about, it's just like that lifestyle piece, and that's something I love sharing. But I want to see if you guys would be into one day having Ryan and I chat with you guys specifically. Well, we got all our questions. So we're more prepared for that, but really just seeing your perspective, and maybe we can collaborate with his facility, the Applied Sports Performance Institute in Tampa, and you guys and do some stuff. We can test me.
We'd be happy to do that. I love this quote by Drew Carey: "Eating crappy food is not a reward; it's a punishment."
Yeah, see, that's how I think of it.
And so when I do the right things, I feel good about myself.
Right.
And now, just given what I know, when I do the wrong things because I've gone too long without eating, or I'm stressed, or a past habit gets triggered, then it really irritates me. And it irritates me because I love myself, because I want to live a long time. I want to be healthy. I want to be at the weight I want to be. I want my numbers to be great.
But it all goes back to that labeling and what we talked about before with how you language. So if the cupcake, people are like, but I don't want to be deprived. But if you think of the cupcake as the deprivation, because this being here with you is purpose, right? That's, I'm vibrant, I'm healthy, I get to be here with you, helping people. Then this cupcake becomes deprivation. It's all about how you think of things.
The cupcake is a weapon of mass destruction.
Same with you. So, if we have the priority of our brain health, it's like, why say things like, oh, well, I feel fine now, and I got to die somehow. Like, I hear that all the time, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but your perspective is so off. You're torturing yourself. And like,
it's just
so
kind of
hard to
sad.
not be judgmental in that aspect. It's like, love your brain some more so you can love yourself.
It's not about how you die, it's about how you live.
Yeah.
So.
Great. Well, you can learn more about Josh Perry at joshperrybmx.com. You can also follow him on Instagram, Josh Perry BMX. We are so grateful for
really
your time and for your passion and allowing us to tell your story, your expertise. Thank you so much. And for our listeners, what is that one experience that you've had to overcome, or that you are currently overcoming?
What made you collapse?
What one thing have you learned from this week of podcast that you can apply to your life?
And are you on self or are you on purpose? I love that.
Post it on any of your social media channels, hashtag Brain Warriors Way Podcast. Also go to brainwarriorswaypodcast.com. Leave us a review, leave us questions. We're so grateful that you're a brain warrior. This is the Brain Warriors Way Podcast.
If you're enjoying the Brain Warriors Way podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. And while you're at it, feel free to give us a review or 5-star rating, as that helps others find the podcast.
If you're considering coming to Amen Clinics or trying some of the brain healthy supplements from BrainMD, you can use the code podcast10 to get a 10% discount on a full evaluation at amenclinics.com or a 10% discount on all supplements at brainmdhealth.com. For more information, give us a call at 855-978-1363.